Okay, in the last video, we learned how to reorder some of these and how it affected it. And if you look now that we had moved this wall thickness up, and if I flip this over, now the shelling only occurs on the base, where if I take this wall thickness and I move it, let's see, back down, we can see that because now it's under some of these other features, that it affects a lot more than just the base. And so that's why we moved it. So I'm going to move this back up. And again, now it only affects that base that's shelled out. Okay, so now we're going to come up to the vertical plate, click on that down arrow, and or you could have right clicked on that, and we're going to edit this sketch. All right, let's see if we can just flip this around to make it look like the book. And if we click on this point where this arc meets this vertical line, and what I should be able to do is, with this hovered out, if I make this tangent, we're going to see that it caused an error. And basically what it did is it made the sketch overdefined. It's got too much information. And what that means is that because we did this, it conflicts with something else that's already been defined. So SolidWorks offers us some ways to troubleshoot that if we didn't know that. I mean, clearly we just changed it, but that if we didn't know ways to troubleshoot. And so one of those ways is something called the Sketch Expert. And if we come down here to where it says overdefine and we click on that, it will bring up the Sketch Expert over here. And it gives us two options. And we can either diagnose and let SolidWorks do it, or we can manually repair it. And so we're going to click diagnose. So if we look over here, we can see that it says results and it's showing 1 to 4 solutions. So there's 4 different ways that we can let SolidWorks fix this sketch. Let's take a quick look at the book to demonstrate this. So if we look at page 331 in the book, what it shows are the 3 solutions. And if we look at the possible solutions here, each of these uses a different combination of relationships and what has to change to make that fit. And it's a little hard to see on the screen here, but some of these have a very faint outline of the sketch. And so what it's doing here is showing us what would be removed, in this case the tangent relation that we put on, and then what will be the result. And so if we remove this, then it goes back to what we started with. If we leave that tangent relation, we can see in this case that the diameter stays the same, this radius stays the same, and this height stays the same, but this distance changes, where we see what the original is here, this 151.45, that's to the center of the circle horizontally. Now that changes, and now you can see that when that changes, it makes this line vertical and tangent to that, and so it moved that circle. In this one, in this solution, it kept that horizontal dimension, but it changed the diameter of the radius. And you can see then the end result, this line remains vertical, this stays the same, but now that radius is very small on top. And then the last solution, it keeps the diameter, keeps that horizontal distance, keeps that tangent to the circle, but now that line is no longer vertical. And you can see what that end result is going to be. All right, so if we come back to this, let me just fix this, and we come over here to the results, I can click through these, and then what you'll see is with the red line, that's what we started with, and then this is the solution, and then you'll see just this little red slash through the dimension that needs to be removed to make that solution work. And these all match what we just looked at the book. You can probably see them a little bit better here. So we're going to select solution 2, and we're going to say accept. And now we'll hit OK. And then the other thing that we could have done, and this will fix it once we enter the sketch, but if I back up and I click on this overdefined error again, we could also manually repair this. And you can see these two dimensions in yellow, the diameter of the circle and this horizontal distance to the center of the circle is what conflicts. And here's our little key down here. In yellow, or that gold, the item conflicts. The red item is unsolvable. And so I can pick that distance, and then I can choose delete, and we end up with the same solution. So we're going to click OK, and now this time we can say edit the sketch. Exit the sketch, not edit the sketch. So if we look now, we can see that the back here, this back of this rib, is now vertical and tangent with this circle. Now, if we look at the book, we want this rib, it looks like, to be in the center of this. So we're going to go ahead and move that. So before we move it, I'm going to end this video here in, to keep these short, and we will pick this up with the next one.